Well, good morning. Another Monday morning, and it's a nice one. Very pleasant. The temperature right now is 17 degrees. It's not going to be as hot as recently. It's going to go about 23 or 24, and a mild breeze, and a very mild breeze actually. So a pleasant enough day. I zipped in on the old scooter this morning, and very comfortable ride I had. It wasn't at all nasty sitting there and letting the breeze flow through my locks as I tore down the high street and into work, where the lovely Jane, as usual, had got everything ready for me. I had nothing more to do than to sit down and pick up the mouse and start to look at what we needed to for today's Mirador television break an egg. And the first thing we do, of course, each week, each day, is to go through the news headlines and see who's doing what. And of course, they are all still at it, looking at our problems. No. It is much better apportionment of their time to have a go at each other. And now it's the Labour who are getting silly. Not as if they hadn't been silly all along, but all being silly. But look at our problems in this country. Look at the day-to-day vagaries that the electorate goes through. Not a bit of it. No. Much more fun having a go at the opposition, which they do. And what they've done is they've unearthed a video. Now, unearthed a video of some Tories having a cocktail party during COVID. Naughty. What do you want to bet the next move will be is now that the Tories will go looking for video and social media stuff and so on of Labour people having a party at the same time. For God's sake, can we please now let this rest? You've got rid of the bête noire, Boris. Right? Now get back to doing work on both sides. Here they are, full of self-congratulations. They have done nobody any favours. Nobody, including themselves, because I can't think that the electorate are so daft that they're going to vote half these people back in. Half of them. It's just so silly and stupid, and shows a lack of respect and a lack of concern for what's going on in the world, and particularly in our part of it. So, is the Daily Mirror triumphantly guilty party. Police probe over Tory COVID back video. Calls for rule breakers to lose honours. Victims' families sickened by footage. Oh, yes. The Mirror did its own weekend revelations about a video showing Conservative Party workers dancing at their own social gathering during the second COVID lockdown at the end of 2020. It reports to the video has sparked fury among relatives of COVID victims who accuse them of dancing on the graves of those who died. It also runs a story on ex-Manchester United footballer Andy Cole talking about his minor dad ahead of a Windrush Day. There you go. The Metro. You're out of order, says the Metro. And it just goes along with the same story. As long as we don't stream that, we're like bending the rules. You're out of order, the Metro says, as it carries pictures taken from the Partygate video. The paper explains that the view comes from Levelling Up Minister Michael Gove, who was grilled on TV over the latest revelations of what was going on in Westminster at a time when the country was being told to follow strict rules on social distancing. I really can't get excited about it. Yeah, they're naughty, and something should be done about it, but not spending all this public time and waste and effort, and for that matter money, is ridiculous. The Guardian: pressure on Sunak as the Met Police consider latest Partygate video. Oh Jesus, the Met brought back into it. The Guardian takes leads on the Metropolitan Police announcing they are considering the Partygate video. The paper calls the video another setback for Rishi Sunak as he attempts to move on from the legacy of Boris Johnson's chaotic premiership. Now, his premiership, which managed to achieve two things, which and they've now lost the plot. God help me, because I am a citizen of this country being led by a bunch of morons. That really frightens me. It frightens the hell out of me. The I. Now, they've changed tack because inflation is the classic way to fight inflation is for the central bank, that is the Bank of England, to raise interest rates. Indeed it is. But this bout of inflation is particularly nasty and particularly stubborn. And the raising of interest rates so far has done little to stem the rise of inflation, and therefore the rise in interest rates to try and cap it. Now, what that basically means is, it's a lot to all of us. There are two things that have arisen from it. One is the banks, who are very, very difficult with customers, to say the least, have not passed on any savings that is brought on by the rise in interest rates. Because basically what happens is that currencies are traded on what's known as the coupon. And the coupon is how much extra you get with the rise in interest rates. So the pound generates 4%, 5%, 6%, depending on what the rate of inflation interest rate is set by the Bank of England. Now, unfortunately, we all pay for goods in pounds, in coinage, and the banks have not been passing on the new income that they're getting from a rise in interest rates, and people are getting very angry about it because savers are not being in any way given a reward for saving. But the other thing that happens is that those people who suffer or borrow from the bank is they pay the going interest rates, which have been now set, I think, that about 5% or something. Yes, if it's going to nudge 6, then it'll be 5%, won't it, or thereabouts. But the fact of the matter is that means mortgages, particularly, are going to have to increase because they are based on interest rates, and they are pretty steep at the moment. The amount of interest rates that are payable on a mortgage, and with the if in fact the bank rises or raises interest rates again, it's going to mean a couple of thousand onto an average mortgage. And of course, no government wants to be responsible for that, so the Tories are in a right old tizzy. This is what the I says. The government has put pressure on banks to do more to help homeowners with the cost of living as an interest rate rise looms. The reports insiders told the paper that Chancellor Jeremy Hunt would continue to look at how to help property owners struggling with the cost of living. But this would mean putting pressure on banks to act. The Daily Mail. Bank told to wait before imposing another rate hike. So what the Mail is reporting is that Jeremy Hunt and the team in Westminster have said to the bank, it's a central bank, look, you've got to hold on for a bit. Don't put the interest rate up immediately, because that's going to cause disaster in the homeowners sector, the very sector that vote for us, right? Yeah. No dummy him. No ulterior motive. Oh, yes. So the Daily Mail leads with experts urging interest rates to be paused to help households. One senior broker tells the paper the expected 13th consecutive Bank of England increase is insanity. The paper says the interest rate hike will leave tens of thousands of homeowners facing a massive repayment hike, which means that if they are still going to pay their mortgage, somebody else doesn't get paid. And then, the commercial banks, they have no sympathy whatsoever. None. They'll charge you if you bought a grape, for God's sake. The Daily Express. The Treasury warns that home loan help is the most dangerous thing Britain could do. A taxpayer will not foot the bill for mortgage bailout. The Treasury has ruled out helping millions of struggling with higher mortgage rates. The Daily Express reports a Treasury insider tells the paper that state intervention in mortgages would be the most dangerous thing a government could do. They explain it could risk fueling inflation and force the Bank of England, to respond with higher interest rates. It also features wetsuit-clad footballer legend Graham Souness, after he was helped from the English channel. So, keeping an eye on what's happening. You need to keep an eye on what's happening too. The Times. The Prime Minister will skip the vote on Johnson's party's dossier. Well, there's a vote today going to be taken on the report on the investigation into Boris Johnson. A lot of MPs, particularly Tory MPs, have said that they won't vote as a protest against the bias and the necessity of the paper. The Prime Minister says he will skip wide on Boris Johnson. It's a pity that these water videos are excellent. They're the only ones really that have shown so far out of the headlines that the water situation is out of control as well. Oh yeah, it might as well be. It might as well join everything else. But the Ashes says Britain's not to be a priority on council house lists. Now, what that's all about is that the Times splashes on. So just looking at people getting out of the cars, and there's Andy, window cleaner, just go past. The Times splashes on ministers considering prioritising British citizens for council housing as part of addressing concerns over migration. The paper says it is discussing legislation for the plans to include in the government's price to actually that last bit is the plan to say to the banks, don't, or the central bank, don't raise your interest rate yet. How long can they keep that up? Then inflation starts to take over again, and this has been a particularly difficult bout of inflation. The paper says it's discussing legislation for the plan to be included in the government's priorities for the next parliamentary year ahead of an expected general election. Perils of a midweek glass of wine. Oh, dear. The Daily Telegraph, Starmer. I'll push onshore wind to hit net zero. The Labour Party have outlined to much criticism what their plans would be for, if they get power, to actually solve some of the problems that we've got. And it says that scrap the ban on new onshore wind farms. There is a ban on wind farms for environmental reasons, I believe. But Starmer said, don't be so silly. Just put them wherever you think are better. Beating the heat rise bill is far more important. One would argue that. The Daily Telegraph reports that the broadcaster will be a clean armament. So Johnson the Daily Telegraph reports the broadcast says he will pledge to make Britain a clean energy and superpower. Well, that's difficult, isn't it? It's all very well, but ignoring the fact that a lot of families are going to be in financial trouble isn't something that should be ignored. Right, Financial Times. AstraZeneca draft plans to carve out China business. It's essentially what the story is from the FT, is that the Financial Times is leads on a pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca, drawing up plans to separate the Chinese arm of its global business. Basically, all our big businesses do business with the Chinese, and in some instances, part owned by them. What the story is saying is that HSBC, is it HSBC? Yes, I think so. Well, not necessarily. AstraZeneca, anyway, is going to delist the part of the business that is heavily involved with the Chinese and put it in Hong Kong or somewhere where there is a Chinese authoritative outlet on the stock exchange or whatever. Already, HSBC has run into some problems trying to handle the way that it is at the moment, trying to handle the inflationary aspects of our society. I say inflationary aspects to make it sound as if it's not as serious as it is. It is very serious indeed. And the sun, aha, it's pulled at a star, a daily star, because it's decided to have nothing to do with all this nonsense of the increase in interest rates, increase in various foods and so on. Incidentally, barbs and laurels, just only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Waitrose announced with great pomp and circumstance and that it was cutting prices on a number of things that the very important to the family. One was it's sliced ham. It was a very nice deal. The ham was okay for sandwiches. It was £1 for a packet of about 8 or 10 slices, and very popular it was. Well, suddenly it zoomed to £1.60 or £1.70. No justification whatsoever. And that particular ham is now, it went step one back one step, back step one, never mind, whichever it is the essentially what they did was they said, look at us, we're rising to the public mood. And we've got a number of things we're going to lower, or go back to original price. And this was one of them. As of Saturday, it's now back up to £1.10. But nobody is telling the public. No fanfare. No, hey, do it our way. I'm afraid that the people involved with the Mirror are having a rough time and going to get rougher. Because a certain amount is being laid at their feet. Now let's see what happens with our Daily Star. A drinkflation crisis, the great beer robbery. Aha! Now, if you're a sweet manufacturer or a biscuit manufacturer, and you want to fool the public into thinking that they are handling things extremely well, what they do is they say they boast we have kept our prices at COVID level. Okay, let's say £1 for a packet of biscuits. What they don't do is they don't what they don't do is they don't tell you that what they've done is they decreased the amount of goods. So, in fact, if you've got a package of biscuits and it's sixpence, it remains sixpence, but the package of biscuits had 12. Now it's got 11, and that's what they do. Now the brewers are being accused of cutting alcohol levels to save money. In other words, the beer is weaker. And the Daily Star reports that beer firms accused of reducing the level of alcohol in pints to save millions are claiming drinkers want weaker drinks to boost their health. Drinkflation is the very official term the paper has come up with to describe the crisis. So, in other words, you go in and you say, I'll have my usual, please, Doris. And Doris, the barmaid, comes up and she pours her pint and says, there you are, Keith, there's your pint. And I look at it and I say, oh, Doris, it looks wonderful. And she says, yes, but what I'm not going to tell you is that that's a bit weaker. Why, Doris? I say, I don't like that. I'm paying for a pint and I expect a pint as it always has been. No, she says, it's good for your health. Ah, I say, it's good for my health. That's all right then, Doris. Yeah. Can you see that scenario? Drinkers barreling into their pint, don't want anything to interfere with it. People have tried it in the past, and they'll try it in the future, and now in trying it in the present, the chances are that they are not going to be sympathetic. They've been asked to make a lot of other sacrifices. Cutting down the beer is pretty damn naughty. Pretty damn naughty. And let's just see what may be lurking in the in the local area. Let's see, Sussex Live. Everything to know about. It's all. It's all for pity. Stuff about how many beer gardens are getting accolades and so on and so forth. Let's see. Plans for a green urban park in Sussex town centre, a retail area, is that it was a weekend story. Oh, so end of last week. Let's see what that's about. In Worthing, plans for a green urban park in Worthing town centre, retail area are revealed. It looks as if they're going to have little parks and parklets in the centre of Worthing. And I suppose that's exciting, and it may change the look of. Of course, the storm warning was issued, and indeed we had one overnight about 4 a.m. I actually slept through it. I didn't hear it at all. I woke up and then checked the windows of my apartment, and sure enough, there were splashes on it. But I'm told that by some people who did wake, there was thunder and lightning and lots of wind. But basically, it was only a 24-hour warning, and the warning has now gone off, I think. So not a great deal left for the local news at the moment. I'm sure that things will start to hot up as the day goes by. We are not in a period where things like crime are taking a back seat. Crime is rampant, I'm afraid. Stabbings and assaults all over the place. Okay. It's only going to hit 21 today. And where is it now? 17. So it's aiming high. It's always around 2 o'clock that we hit the top figure. And at 2 o'clock it will be 19 degrees. Starting from a base of 15 today, which was quite warm. And a gentle breeze. It doesn't say that we're going to get more rain, although it does say that we're going to get some tomorrow. So do be prepared. It's weather unsettled until about Thursday, when we start to see the sun unimpeded by cloud or wind or anything else, and hitting 23 degrees. Not the heady 27, 30 that we've had, but seasonably warm and rather pleasant. Good heavens, it's 9 o'clock. As we've been rabbiting on, and we've gone over. Well, just a matter of Mirador, but we've taken our allotted time. Shall we put it that way? So we will be back in half an hour with more programs and more stuff. And until then, let us say cheerio. With the main news, I think, this morning is that the government is trying to tell the Bank of England, which is independent of government, by the way, to cool it on raising interest rates because it's hitting mortgages very hard, which in turn is hitting vote of confidence in the government. Ooh. All right. Here we go. Back in half an hour.